Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to the WCS Paddle Sports YouTube channel. Today I'm just going to be walking you through how to install H-rails on a Hobie inflatable kayak. The only parts you'll need are a Railblaza RIB port. You'll need 2 of these per rail. A Railblaza adapter kit, and these are sold as pairs, so you only need 1 pair per rail. The Hobie inflatable glue, and I'm using 1 of these per RIB port. And then you'll need either a 21-inch, 9-inch, or a Pro Angler Hobie H-rail kit. The first thing you're going to do is attach that H-rail to your Hobie adapter kit using the bolts that come with the adapter kit. And the inflatable glue you're working with is pretty strong, so I would highly recommend using a respirator, some gloves, and some safety glasses as we move on to this next part. So now we're going to use some all-purpose cleaner just to get all the oils and kind of stuff off of the kayak itself and off of those ports. You do want it to be as clean as possible when you stick these 2 things together, because you want this seal to last as long as you can. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the rail into the RIB ports. The reason we're going to do this is so we can get everything measured out and figure out exactly where you want your rail and your ports to go. On the rear port in particular, you want to make sure you've got that where you want it, because it's going to go in between your valve where you're pumping air in and the paddle clip on the back. So once you've got everything kind of measured out there, you're just going to take a pencil and go ahead and outline where your ports are going to go. Alright, so onto the glue now. There are a couple ways you can do this. The way I like to apply the glue is I like to use one of these paint stirring sticks. You can get them at pretty much any hardware store. I like to use these because they let me apply everything really evenly and precisely. So when you apply this glue, it's very permanent. It's very strong stuff. So you want to make sure you get it right. Normally what I do is I try to go a little bit larger when I'm applying the glue to the boat than the actual size of the port, just in case I don't get it perfectly within those lines. You don't want to have too much, but the stuff dries pretty clearly, so you don't have to worry about it being really ugly. Some people, when they apply stuff like this on inflatables, they'll do it really precisely, which of course you can do that as well. And once you've applied the glue to the boat, you'll just do the same thing to the port itself. Once you've applied the glue, you'll need to give it a few minutes to tack. If you don't allow it to sit for a while, it's not going to stick properly, so you can kind of poke it like in the middle to make sure that it's tacking, but it does take a few minutes, so just be patient here, as this is a really important part of making sure that this holds long term. Alright, and once again with the H-rail attached, we're going to go ahead and we're going to stick the port to the kayak. We're doing this with the H-rail attached, same reason as before, just to make sure we're getting everything exactly where we want it. Alright, and once we've stuck the port to the boat, we're going to go ahead and let all the air out of the chamber that it's applied to. Make sure all the corners and everything are stuck down nicely. And after that, we're just going to take the boat off the stand if you're working with it on stand. We're going to lay it on the ground. And once again, making sure that that port is sitting on there really snug and evenly. And then once we've done that, we're just going to leave it and let it dry overnight. Give it about 24 hours. Alright, once you've let that sit, we'll just come back in and fill that chamber back up and make sure that that first port is looking good. And this is what your ports should look like once they're applied. They sit super flush on the boat. They are really solid. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and put the H-rail back in those RIB ports again, and we're kind of going to just repeat the same process for this rear one, getting it in place, making sure we've got it where we want it, outlining it with the pencil, and then gluing it down. And you'll notice this time I'm just using the tube to apply the glue directly onto the boat and doing tiny circles. That is another method you can use for this. I still prefer using the paint stir stick just because, like I said, it's a little quicker and lets me apply a little more evenly. It's totally fine to go this route though. Alright, so if you're doing this with 2 rails, which most people probably are, the easiest way to do it is obviously do your front 2 ports at the same time and then your rear 2 ports at the same time. So if that's what you've done, after day 2, when you've let those rear ports dry up, go ahead and inflate your boat, put everything together, and then we'll go ahead and clip those H rails into those RIB ports, and you are all set. Now you can mount any Hobie H rail accessory onto this inflatable.